If Engineer Wahab wants to be doing poetry,
Yeah.
let's know.
Yeah.
You come to what's it called?
Terra culture.
Or come to Freedom Park
Or Alliance Française.
Yeah, Alliance Française. You can put you on stage. You put you on stage. You do poem
With
You do poem
microphone.
exactly. You do poem for us. We'll clap for you. Yeah, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are at. Welcome to the Junction podcast, where we get it rolling. You know, that's how we roll on this side of the aisle.
That's how we roll.
I remain your host, Resh, and my humble co-hosts, as usual.
Yeah. L.A.
Yeah.
L to the A to the L to the A to the L to the A. L.A. Your guy.
Yeah, that's how we roll. Yeah, I mean, this week has been very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Extremely interesting. Extremely interesting.
A lot of intercontinental ballistics.
Intercontinental ballistics. Intercontinental shots.
From North America
you know,
to East Africa to West Africa to...
But of course, you know, I'm always going to talk about my boy. They almost took my boy out.
Goddamn.
They almost took my boy
Goddamn.
out.
Goddamn.
Donald J. Trump.
Oh.
You know, I mean,
They almost Kennedy my guy. GF Kennedy my guy.
seriously.
Terrible.
That was a surreal moment when I saw it on TV.
Yeah.
You know, it was a surreal moment, and I was like, is it this bad? Like, is this politics thing really this bad? Like, you know, and all. And I mean, I don't know what you really think about that, because I have my reserved, you know, comments on it. You know, but it was, I mean, of which we know that Trump got back to working immediately, almost immediately, you know, after, everybody could get around it and saw what actually happened. I was like, oh, is that really, you know, and then he went back to work and stuff, you know, but I mean, let's just talk about that moment itself. What do you, how do you see?
Let me ask you a question first of all. If you were in the line of maybe carrying out your work, maybe, let's assume you're a 9-to-5er, right? Or not even a 9-to-5er right now as a business person.
Yeah.
And you had a very close shave with death. Just putting yourself in that position right now. Do you think that you'll be in a position to just get up and continue working like nothing happened? Let's say if it was you. Like you just narrowly missed death. Like maybe it was an accident, like one trailer just literally skimmed past you while you were like standing at the junction or something. And then you missed death like by a mile. Or not even that, like someone actually tried to shoot you and then
someone actually shot at you.
Someone actually shot at you and you survived.
Missed the bullet.
Yeah. Would you be able to like just the next morning just like where your like,
I think that is where Trump's personality, that is where his personality comes into play. And I'm like, man, this guy is for real. Like, he really meant what he wants to do. He really meant what he wants to achieve, you know, and stuff. And I was like, you know, and it was really motivating, really, for a 78-year-old man, you know, getting shot at, blood dripping all over him and stuff and all. And he was telling his supporters, keep going on, you know, and all. That was really, really like, somebody said it's humanized Trump, because people were always seeing him as somebody that cannot relate, somebody that just removed from, you know, reality, because he's a rich man. He just talks anyhow and stuff and all and everything. But that moment actually made me to kind of see this guy like, man, this guy is for real. He's actually pursuing what he wants to achieve, you know, and he doesn't want anybody getting in his way and stuff and all. So it was really something to behold, something to really, really look at. Really,
I see.
For anybody that's supporting him anyway. Yeah,
well, I mean, one thing's for sure, that entire incident completely swung the momentum in his favor, right? The question is, who are the winners and who are the losers, right? Who has more at stake at something like this happening, and who has more to lose, right? Because, and there are different point of views or school of thoughts with this incident. Some people think that it could have been a planned attempt, in which case, it goes back to the question I asked you earlier. If someone actually took a shot at you and you survived, right? I would think that the natural human being's response to that is to be in a state of shock and for a few days,
they take you
really,
in.
you really want to just, because life literally just went past you.
Talk to your therapist.
Yeah. And when you know that someone actually died, like,
exactly.
Like,
talk to your therapist.
Someone actually died with that bullet, and somebody
can't be out for the next maybe 2 weeks.
So maybe not 2 weeks, but a day or two, right? You prioritize what's important to you. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's politics.
I know somebody
maybe it's your career.
Sorry to cut you. I know somebody that had a close shave with death. She had an accident.
Yeah.
She's been meeting therapists for the, this is like the second year going.
Yeah. No jokes. Really. Because it impacts people differently.
Yeah.
So to see Trump like say, oh, we're going to postpone I think it was Massachusetts was supposed to go to, and then he come back later in Wisconsin, and then he comes back in the evening and says, you know what? Yeah, I thought we were going to postpone it before, but now we're good. We're going to press forward because we want to tell the enemies that we can't be down. Hey, listen, I'm not saying anything here. I'm just saying it all looks very convenient, right? What can't be taken away from this is that actual human lives were lost, right? Someone got hit by that bullet and sadly lost his life. The shooter was also exed, right? By Secret Service. So whether it's a case of this is planned or not planned, lives were lost. And I don't think that the American democracy wants to be able to go to that length where for the purpose of politics, people are, violence is being used.
Did you say American democracy? That's like
going all the way back. Yeah,
American democracy should not go to that length.
They've left that.
They've been there.
Well,
They've been there, done that.
Well, I thought they'd left that behind from the JF Kennedy days, right? And I thought they're pressing forward towards, more civilized, discussions and ways of, carrying out democracy, right? So if they have to go all the way back to violence, then that's a big problem. And that could be a symbolism of the issues that the Americans are crying out for by saying that democracy right now is being run to the ground and there's a need to press a reset button, right? I think what was very interesting was, and I saw Candace Owens and was it Alex Jones say, they had predicted this happening, right? Looking at how Trump had surpassed like every single hurdle, that they call it the deep state had pushed at him, right? In terms of bringing up some legal cases, trying to disqualify him, trying to make him a convicted felon. All of those things didn't seem to slow him down. Alex Jones had predicted that they will move to the next phase, which is, an assassination attempt, right? And he's even more concerned that now that has failed, they could get even more desperate and go into their book of dark arts and pull up something even more sinister, right? I think that Donald Trump builds on this big time. A lot of the neutralists and the independents who were maybe standing on the aisles and saying we'll see how things go, I think a lot of those votes have swung into his favor. The debate didn't help, right? The presidential debate didn't help in terms of Biden's performance. And then they said he got sick. He has COVID. His activities on Twitter or on X recently has been very weird. Yeah. Yeah, the president is putting out some really weird tweets. Yeah. And I'm not sure he's doing his party a lot of favors at this time. And there's rumors that they're trying to get him to even step down.
They want him out.
Yeah.
They want him out. All the big guys in the party, they want him out at this time. But what another thing that I saw about Trump is, imagine this guy is a multi-billionaire. There was the debate that he had with Hillary Clinton then, where Hillary Clinton was saying like Trump doesn't pay his fair share of tax and stuff and all. And Trump was like, then do something about it. If you say, I'm taking my fair share of the tax, I'm not paying it and so do something about it. But I know you're not going to do anything about it because your donors benefit from it as well.
Affected.
Yeah. And you could imagine like the guy is just telling it as it is and all. And I think it's because, he's not the regular politician, and then somebody was asking him like, what do you stand to gain in all of this? You were the, everybody's favorite, TV darling. Your apprentice, celebrity apprentice, the apprentice and stuff. Everybody loves you and stuff. You were like the golden child. You were in Home Alone. Everybody likes you. You were like
he was in Home Alone.
Yeah, he was in Home Alone.
Ah, really?
Okay. Maybe Home Alone or Problem Child. Any one of those.
Oh, okay.
And then, you decide to go into policy. But if you also look at Trump's interviews from like 30 years ago, Trump has been saying exactly the same thing he's saying now.
Yeah.
That other countries are ripping America off. We don't have to, we also want our fair share, of, good business deals and stuff and all that. That's what he's been saying 30 years ago. And he's saying it the same thing right now and all. And then if you look at the debts, America's debts, like I think it's like $36 trillion right now, and all. And this guy is saying like everybody else, if you talk about war, war now, maybe backing up NATO, America is paying maybe like 80% of it. So what are the rest of the EU doing, and all? If you talk about business deals, we are selling our cars, exchange and all. America is paying 20 something, percent tax. And then, China is paying 5% tax. Like, why are you doing that to us and all? The same thing with Japan. And this guy is saying, no, we don't want to do business like that. We want to do a fair trade. If you are charged, if we are taking this tax out of us, then we should be able to tax you like that and stuff and all. And everybody kind of like sat up during his time, And if you look at, the world stage too, relatively peaceful.
Yeah.
Very peaceful. So at that,
Yeah.
Biden came into power. We've seen the way everywhere has gone into chaos. War everywhere. Everybody is just fighting war. The Middle East is not safe. The, Afghanistan is not safe. We've seen a lot of overthrows, maybe in Africa. I don't know if that one is actually deliberate or.
The Mali and
and there's a lot of overthrow happening, and all. But I think what they said is, allegedly too, there's a lot of stock that goes into military equipment and stuff and all and everything. And most of these politicians, allegedly, please, nobody should come and say, somebody saying something. No, that's what they're accused of. They're accused of using its military industrial complex. That's what they call them, because they have stakes in all these places. Now, what's this lady? The one that was contesting against Donald Trump in the primaries. Nikki Haley. They said, by the time they checked her, that she has a big stake. Yeah, relatively, some amount of stake in one military, equipment supply company and stuff and all. So that's what they say they do, But Trump is saying, we don't want war.
Yeah.
America wants to pull out of every of the war that they've been fighting. They've been spending a lot of money. They want to pull out of all those stuff and all, The Middle East, they don't want no smoke, and all. And we know what happened when he said he doesn't want any smoke with Iran, and the Qasem Soleimani went to Iraq, and then they killed some US personnel and stuff and all. And Trump was like, okay, you want the smoke, then I'm going to actually cause arson. I'm not going to bring any smoke. I'm going to cause arson, and all. Yeah. And they blew him off, or say, let's square off, and all. But we know what happened, they backed off, and all. And you see, I think the world needs truth. And I feel like, in my own opinion, I feel like Trump brings truth to the world, and the world doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Before I leave the mic to you, I've heard something about some of the guys that, maybe like, that I chat with on Facebook or what have you and all. They're like, man, why are you supporting Trump? He doesn't even offer you anything, and all and everything. And I'm like, why wouldn't I support Trump? I've seen every of his policies. And the only thing that I'm looking at is I wish I had a leader like that in my own country that fights for the interest of me, my own interest. We know when Trump got into office, he cut tax for all working workers, cut tax for all workers and stuff. All the money that we are spending in the military, we are going to use that to augment all those tax all those tax breaks, that we're going to give to our people and stuff and all. And that's how people made money. People were doing just one job because the money that they had could take them home, and they could buy groceries, they could pay their rent, they could do all those stuff and all. Americans were doing well and all. If my own president is doing that for my own country, I'll be very happy, And then when they say, okay, he's talking about immigration, what do you want the guy to talk about? What do you want the guy to talk about? If his own people are not getting jobs, what do you want him to talk about? If Nigerians are not getting job, foreigners are getting all our job. What do you think we should be talking about? Really? So for me, I'm looking at it very rationally. I'm not looking at it from somebody that wants to jackpot, and then, thinking that they have made it in life and stuff. Most of the time, I don't even know how many people have jackpot that's even in my own family. Because that's not my own concern. I'm talking of me. I'm here in Nigeria. I'm saying that if my president is like this, I'm making sure that they're doing everything to make sure they take care of their own people. Oh, why would I want to, what's it called? why do I have any issue with that person, really? You know? So those are the things, and that's the reason why I kind of support Trump. I'm not supporting Trump because I hate anybody or because I don't want you to do well, what have you. I don't even know most of the time. I don't even know if you are there to even begin with, you know, and all. Yeah. So that's my own reason why I support the guy. And I wish him well. I pray that they don't get to kill him, you know, because I know what the world enjoyed when he was in office, you know.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, everyone is concerned about their own self-preservation. And it depends on what side of the divide you belong to. The pure Americans, they are looking for change. They want Trump because they think that Trump will come in and put Americans first. And it's fair game to them for them to say, maybe for once, we want a government that thinks more about us than a government that's more interested in what's happening in Ukraine and what's happening in Israel and what's happening in Afghanistan. You know, a government that pays more attention to what happens everywhere else other than home. And again, the next question is, what does a Trump presidency mean for the rest of the world? Especially Africa, for example. Yeah, there are some people who are concerned about Trump becoming president on an immigration perspective, especially the Africans, because they will say, oh, Trump coming in means that there are more restrictions to visa entries to the US. That might be possible. But at the end of the day, like you said, any rational thinking person knows that the sovereignty and the safety of a nation is paramount from an inward perspective. And people who make the argument for immigrations against Trump, I think that they make a fundamental mistake in this situation. Trump has an issue with illegal border crossing, right? His major problem with illegal immigrants are the Hispanics, right? And those people who are coming in from the Mexican border, because the border is so porous and there's really no way to, should I say, surveil the border such that you can curtail this illegal border crossing, because the border is so wide. And that's why I had the idea of building the wall to be a physical barrier to stop, you know, illegal border migration. I think that for Africans, you can't enter the US by sea or by the border. You have to actually fly there. So if you have a legitimate reason to be in America, right, you process the visa, you get it either via a visa lottery or via, you know, like you have actual means to be there. I don't think Trump is going to come in and say, oh, we're not going to issue out valid visas to foreigners to come into the country. I don't think that's Trump's stand. So for Africans who are worried that Trump coming in means, oh, he's going to shut down the door to everybody, I'm not sure that's what the case is. He's going to be strong, or he's going to be hard on illegal border crossing migrations, right? I don't know if he will get his wall, but he will definitely strengthen border patrol and make sure that that is curbed to the minimal level. And if you think that what Trump is concerned about is a selfish agenda, just take a look at what's happening in some other countries like the UK and in Europe at large.
France.
Is it what? Ireland? Yes. France. Ireland. Even Denmark.
I think Germany too is going through a bit of all that.
Yeah. I don't want to make any statements that might be inciting, but you can see there's been a large proliferation of a section of people, foreigners, into these states, which were hitherto considered very peaceful and welcoming countries. They opened up their arms to people to come in. And then what we are seeing now is these people that have come in, they've now outnumbered even the normal citizens. And then they are bringing a new kind of culture, a new kind of behavior, a new kind of reality into a once peaceful and accommodating civilization. So that's the issue that comes with when you just have a freeloading immigration status and you open the doors in, you allow everybody come in. Eventually, we're going to upset the balance, right, of that civilization or that society, and you might end up causing more anarchy. So I'm all for Trump tightening immigration, really. Like you said, it's not about jackpot or not. It's about doing what's right for your people and allowing only the right kind of people come in, people that can add value, right, to your society. London is another place. They are facing their own issues now because of this, open door policy, right? And I think on the other side too, what does Trump presidency mean for the world? I think Trump's going to come in and he's going to quash all the wars in Ukraine, Russia. He's going to squash the Iran, Gaza, whatever conflict. All of that is going to be put to naught, right? And there's going to be relative stability and peace, right? In the Middle East, in Europe, in the West. And what that also means is that oil prices that has been surged up because of all this conflict will begin to drop. And when the oil prices begin to drop, because trust me, Trump is going to ramp up oil production in the United States like crazy, right? He's going to open up the oil rigs and they will start producing oil like nonsense. So there's going to be an increase in supply of oil from the US. So Nigeria needs to start looking at oil dependent states like Nigeria and all these, Libya and all that, Algeria and Angola. They need to start looking at it and saying in November, Trump wins. 2025, we need to start getting ready for the reality of low oil prices, right? And what does that mean for our country? What does that mean for revenue? What does that mean for our budget? What does that mean for our fiscal stability? Less revenue from oil. So presidents and government, they need to start planning ahead because I don't see Trump not winning the election. We need to get past that and start planning for what happens in a low oil price scenario. To our budget, to how we fund our budget, to how we fund critical capital projects, to how government even funds its own balance sheet in the first place, right? We need to start thinking about increasing non-oil exports, boosting productivity locally, trying to achieve sustainability and self sustainability in terms of food production and all that. Because if we don't start thinking ahead now, and making those plans for those scenarios, 2025 is going to come. Trump's going to take over, stop all the wars, and all of a sudden we just realize that oil price is now $65 per barrel or $60 per barrel, and then we'll start complaining that we don't have forex because of low oil price, and that's why everybody's going hungry.
Yeah, I wish Trump well, like I said, and if your own country is not doing well, you need to ask your own leaders, what are they doing, to make the country a bit more livable, for you, the citizens and stuff and all. I know, Nigeria is planning to go protests. They said it's in August. I don't know how that is going to play out. There's been a lot of calling out on X. I saw Tomi's post saying like Ononuga was trying to incite that he is the one that is planning the protests, that he's been out of Nigeria for a while and stuff. And, if our government, if their head is on their shoulders, they won't be, running all over the place like headless chicken. Yeah. They would actually be facing what is happening to the people because people are hungry. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. I wanted to buy groceries. Groceries normally, I spend, maybe if I'm buying maybe Weetabix, and all the flakes, I think I buy that for, around 3,000. Now it's 7,600, and then you are buying just two things. Before you buy two things, it's over 10,000, 15,000, Yeah. I know. How do people survive like that? Really? How do people, and then you don't want them to complain. You just want them to suck it up, and then you guys are living large. You guys are, on the dime, on taxpayers' dime, on our natural resources. That's what you guys are living on. And you don't want us to say anything. You just want us to be happy, and suck it up and just be clapping for you and just be happy that you are there, and all. And these are all the things that I see Trump fight for. One of the things that he told them when he was doing his campaign recently was like he realized that even tips, they are taxing tips now in America. I said going forward there's not going to be any tax on the tips. If anybody tips you, that's your money 100% and stuff. How do you think the regular voter will think? you know, and then they feel the larger percentage of, you know, low employees, low wages employees and stuff. That's where they feel. And those are the ones that like, you know, to have as much money in their pocket as possible because they don't have any other means, you know. And this guy is giving them tax breaks and stuff. How do you think they will? Meanwhile, our own government got into office. They've put tax on everything that is taxable, you know, and all. And then you want me to be clapping and saying, oh, our government is doing well and all. You know, it's ridiculous. And that's the reason why I say, like, if you think like I'm just supporting Trump because I'm what's it called? You are a joker. You know, you're just a joker. Go and look at Trump's policies and go and look at what he's doing for the average American. That's when you will know that this guy, that's the reason why a lot of people are rooting for him. You know, like a rock star when he goes to, or any, what's it called? Many of his rallies and stuff, you see them, it's like sellout crowd and stuff and all, you know, because they feel him, you know, and they know that the politicians, Nancy Pelosi and the rest of them, allegedly, because that's what we are going to be saying now, because they started censoring us on YouTube. Allegedly, they said Nancy Pelosi, what's it called? He buys stock. And I mean, all so conveniently, whenever she's buying the stock, it just so happened that something that triggers the stock to favor the stock buyers has happened, you know, and all. So they are like, you guys are back end, you know, players and all. You know this thing. You are the one that put all the policies and stuff. You know who to favor and you know who not to favor and stuff and all. And these are all the things that they are fighting this guy for, that shouldn't come to power, shouldn't come and disrupt their party and stuff and all, you know. So for me, that's the reason why I like Trump. I wish him well. I hope they don't get to kill him, you know. And I was just looking at his kids, you know, finally, I was just looking at his kids like, man, that is the greatest gift you can give to your kids, you know, in the face of death. You are telling them, keep going, you know, and all. I'm like, man, this guy is he's a rock star, you know, but he said something that was really, humbling, you know, when he was addressing the guys at Wisconsin, you know. He said, I stand here. You thought I should be here, you know, because you said I'm not meant to be here. Like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. I said, okay, I hear you, but I'm not supposed to be here. But by the grace of the Almighty God, that's why I'm here today and stuff and all. It humbles him, really. And I think for anybody that is trying to kill him and stuff and all, anybody that thinks he's an evil man, and all, that's your own cup of tea, you know, but we will see the end of it at the end of the day, really. And, yeah, I mean, I'm just putting my own thoughts out here, you know, why I support Trump. I support Trump because I see the humanity in him. I see him fighting for his people. That is what every leader should be doing for their own, people. But we realize that our own leaders, they rather buy jet for themselves. Trump's jet is his own private jet. Because he's made money, you know, a private life that he's doing. He's made money and he can fly anywhere all over the world with his own money, you know. Yeah. I know. And they say, well, maybe that's why I got into government. That's your cup of tea. He has made money before he got into government. You know, I know. How many of our political leaders can we say we can trace? Yeah. How many of our political leaders can we say we can trace their money? You know, that they made it legitimately, you know, within the confines of the law, you know. Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. I wish Trump well. I wish him well. And, yeah, it is what it is. You know, I mean, we're not supposed to take that long, but it is what it is, really. I'm very passionate talking about Trump anyway. You know, yeah. You guys have seen why I talk about Trump that much. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. November is not far again.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Yeah, I'm hoping that we can quickly just get over this one. Yeah, we saw the EFCC chairman, you know, waxing lyrical, you know, talking about how, you know, I mean, he's been a man of integrity. He has done his, I think he was addressing a church. Was it a church? I don't know, but I saw the video. I watched the video, you know, and I was, to be sincere, I was quite impressed, you know, with his pedigree and saying like, go verify, you know, go and check me out, you know, look at my background, you know, and all. And at some point, they relieved him of his work because he wasn't going to play ball, you know, and all. And eventually,
Was he relieved?
Yeah, they were relieved. Maybe there was suspension. Yeah.
During an investigation.
Investigation and all. The investigation lasted for like 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, and all.
If it's somebody back after.
Yeah. If it's somebody that doesn't, know his onions, he will play ball now. You know, he will say, I'm sorry I did that, or and he accept me back. But he stuck to his guns, And he said he didn't do anything. Let them go and find out whatever, and all. Yeah. And I think that's how every, public office holder should be able to stand up and say, go and check me out. You know, if there's anybody that can say they can tie anything to me, go and bring those, allegations, and then I'm willing to stand, in trial for that and all and everything. You know, but one thing that he said that was also very, very, very interesting was, he said the religious organizations that they have won some of the most corrupt, that they're even more corrupt than the public or the private, sectors and stuff. And that's a big dent on a religious organization. I say religious organization because when we say religious organization, people just tend to I don't know, maybe because they feel like the Christian...
I think it's just church.
Yeah, maybe they think the Christian, what's it called? Denomination should be held to a higher level than everybody else. Yeah. You know, so they are always attacking the church, but he said religious organizations and stuff. Yeah. You know, so across board, the mosque, the babalawos, the abalis, whatever and all, all of them are corrupt and all. And they said...
He didn't say all of them are corrupt though.
Yeah.
So he said all of them are...
What did he say?
Is it they are more corrupt religious institutions than public offices?
He said not that some of them are corrupt. Some of them, say some of them are corrupt, as more corrupt than the public, you know, and all. And I think that's something to really think about, really. You know, so that's something to really think about. And I don't know what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's interesting he said that while he was in a church. Making that address. I think it showed his level of, will I call it cojones now? Or, you know, resolve in maybe speaking truth to power, because he was delivering that address in a church event and was able to tell them right to their faces that, look, in my time, you know, as the chairman of the EFCC, I think that's the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. You know, I've had more cause to see a lot of irregularities associated with people in religious institutions more than in public offices. And that's like a wake-up call to our spiritual and religious leaders to change, really. I think we've really flogged the issue of our churches and our mosques and how our
more
leaders...
More like the churches.
Well, we haven't really talked about the mosques in law because, they're very low-key in how they do their things. I'm not a Muslim, so I don't know how things are rolled here in a mosque. I don't know how the finances are put together, how they're dispersed. I don't know. I know that in the Christian setting, every church is like an island on its own, except if you're part of like a major, how do you call it, like a major denomination that has many branches. But a lot of the churches have their own general overseer, and then they are the lord of the churches. They decide what is spent on what, how much is spent on what, where which money is raised goes to what, you know. And they say ultimate power, they're saying that ultimate power corrupts, right? When you have a religious institution where the pastor is like, you know, is seen as the next person to God, basically. And it's like, it has this cloak of infallibility. It's hard for people to question him, right? And I say that not everybody should be religious leaders, to be honest. Not everybody should be pastors. Not everybody should be apostles. Not everybody should be evangelists. Because the kind of requirements that all of these offices, you know, demand from us, not a lot of us can pay the price, right? We're talking about you having access to a lot of money and being able to still kill the temptation of greed, right? As a general overseer, you have seen the tithe contribution for the month. You enter 100 million. You are the signature to the account. It's that time that Instagram, we just throw one ad of one Benz, one GLE 2024 Benz. You just enter your For You page as pastor. And you just realize that, and there's 150 million in the church account. I can just swipe now and cop this for myself. You see? It is a strong level of spiritual discipline. And let's even leave spiritual aside. Integrity as an individual, as a person, to say, even though I have access to these funds, this is not my personal money to spend. I don't think we have enough religious leaders in Nigeria today that have that kind of character, that have that kind of personality, that have that kind of discipline, right? And for me, if you are failing at things like this, it maybe means that maybe you are not ripe to occupy those kind of offices. I've always said, when I said it in the past, they came for me. I think our churches, our mosques, our religious institutions, they should be regulated. I've always said it. I think they should be regulated. People should not be allowed to wake up one morning and say God called them, and then they don't start church. And they start to gather people together, and then they start to, put them under whatever influence they decide to put them under. It can be positive influence, it can be negative influence. There is nobody that can tell, because if someone comes to you and says, now God called me, can you tell him that God did not call him? That's the current state of our spiritual, situation in this country. Anybody can say God has called him, and then can gather people together and start speaking Holy Ghost, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that as far as regulation does not exist, right, we will always have this incident where a lot of people set up churches, gather people together, manipulate them, and then steal from them. And not only steal from them, subjugate them to be subservient to themselves, right? And be completely different from what it is that the spiritual book teaches us to be. And you know how religion is. Once you fall under the spell of your spiritual leader, it's hard for you to see them for what they are. That bias covers your eyes entirely, and you can't see clearly anymore. People like us that are maybe more neutral, we can see those things and call it out because we are neutral, right? We're not under their influence. But once you fall under the influence of your spiritual leader, God help you, that person doesn't have your real interest at heart. They're going to exploit you till thy kingdom come.
Yeah. I mean, I've listened to what you said, but I don't know about that regulation aspect of it. I say that because the question that I ask myself is, okay, the people that are actually regulating the supposed or the said religious organizations, who regulates them as well? I just talked about our government, how reckless they've been with their office, and the resources that Nigeria avails them. We've seen how reckless they are and all. The question is, who regulates the regulators? And all. At the end of the day, I think it still comes back to rest on the people themselves. Choose for yourself the type of leader that you want to follow, that is worthy of followership, and that's the reason why, if we go on protest, rightfully so too, we protest because we have not seen, or we have not benefited, or we have not enjoyed anything worthy of celebration in this government and stuff. And until the people begin to, make their leaders accountable, ask their leaders, to be judicious about what they are doing with their resources and stuff and all. I don't know. I don't really that. So for me, the question is, who regulates the regulators? Because
nobody regulates the regulators. Regulators are selected based on certain frameworks and expectations.
And then you now realize that
they will meet certain standards.
Yeah. And then you realize that they've been bought over.
Possible.
Yeah. We've been bought over. The EFCC guy, the EFCC man came out and said all the things that he said, and it was seen like, oh man. So we see have one person like that, and all.
Yeah.
Up until somebody brings an allegation that actually, is true against him. He is standing on his feet and saying, okay, let anybody come out and accuse him of anything that is done that is wrong. Mm-hmm. And I think every leader should be able to stand like that too. Really. Every leader should be able to stand their grounds and say, I've ruled well, I've led well. If you have anything against me, bring it out and come and challenge me and all. And I sadly, like you said, sadly, not very many religious leaders can come. I'm saying religious leaders because I don't want to just stay with the churches, because I know it is in the name of religion that some people would say they need somebody's torso or somebody's head and somebody's breast or somebody's private parts, so that they can make another person prosperous and stuff. That is the highest level of inhuman, and at the end of the day, it falls down to money. It still falls down to money. You saw some people on TV. I think that was last 2 weeks or so. They were on TV. They said they were, they lured somebody that said he wanted a job and stuff, and they cut off his head. They cut off, if you see the way they said they were piecing apart somebody's body, they killed the person, they cut off their head and all. How much did they, sell the head? 50,000 naira. They sold the head for 50,000 naira. And I'm like, and you are still living, and all. It's in the name of religion that somebody is doing that, And so for me, I think to a large extent, we need people that, and at the end of the day, really, and I think that's why, this podcast may actually give you reasons to kind of sit back and think again, really, and ask yourself, why are you doing the things that you're doing? Why are you following who you are following? Why are you, supporting one political party at the detriment of your own friendship, at the detriment of, your family, and then you are supporting them. It seems like you are blind. You can't even reason. You can't even think. You think the Igbo man is your enemy. You think the Hausa man is your enemy and stuff. And you're not sitting down to ask yourself, the things that I'm hearing, is it something that I should be able to kind of, run with, and all. And I think those are the things that people should be able to, question and ask themselves and all. And if you are introspective and you're asking all those questions, you realize that we'll start having a more decent conversation amongst ourselves. You don't see your supposed brother, as your enemy and stuff and all, And now for me, I'm just looking at it from a wide angle. We're talking about the EFCC chairman and all. We're looking at it from a wide angle. All the people that the EFCC chairman that they said they are running after. Sadly, maybe I need to also, address when I was talking about the EFCC chairman the last time when I was saying that where is Yaya Bello and stuff. Apparently, I think he actually wanted to try those guys, but by the time they start to play the politics and stuff and all and everything, they take it out of his hands, and all. So at the end of the day, you realize, what do you now want him to do? When he's sticking his head out and saying, I'm going to try this guy and stuff, and then they put politics into it, they start to say, it's your brother, and all, and everything, and all, and then before you know it, everything just dies away, and all. It's because of people that are put in different places to oversee and to do all these things that you're asking, to do oversight on all these things that you're asking. They are the one that is playing all these politics, and all. So it's a very sad situation, really. If you're talking about Nigeria, it just wants to kind of just make you sick.
I think on that note, I even want to say something because I recall when he during his speech in that church, he was saying how a lot of people gave him a lot of flack for the fact that he's all talk, no action, because they haven't seen the high profile conviction. And he was saying, listen, his job as an EFCC guy is to prosecute. Right? Conviction is the judiciary's job. When he presents all the evidence and facts, he is relying on the judiciary, the judges, the honorable judges, to make their rulings based on evidence provided. And he stopped short of saying the clear reality of what was happening because he didn't want to get involved in any issues. And he said, listen, what do they want him to do? When he has prepared his case, he has presented it, and then the people at the judiciary will come up with one funny, angle to say maybe an ex-governor, because he was saying he has arraigned 2 ex-governors. And the judiciary will just come up with one funny ruling to say this person cannot be convicted and given jail time. But what he always tries to do is ensure that even if you can't get jail time for these guys, they recover some of the loot that has been taken off. And he said he has done a lot of recovery, monies that has been recovered from these guys and taken back to the treasury. Right? So he's not being given a free hand to really do his job as well as he can. There are so many bottlenecks beyond just even his own, sphere that limit his effectiveness. And that brings me back to Tinubu as the president and his administration. I'm a little confused by the president, to be honest. Some of his appointments, they seem to have a kind of a scale between meritocracy and compensation or compensatory approach. There are some people that he has appointed, some offices, where that, okay, these people he has put there, they are actual technocrats, they are people that know their onions, they have integrity, they are ready to do the work. And then there are some other appointments he has done. This is just compensation based on maybe you funded my election, or you're able to help me get some votes, so take office, And I know that as a politician, he has to do that, right? He has to find a way to create that balance where you've made very important people to your success happy, and you've also tried to put the right people in the right peg in the right holes so that they can function. But I think that his inability to select the right balance of technocrats and the right approach of meritocracy in appointments is affecting his government. Because on one hand, you have people like Dave Umahi, the EFCC chairman, Bumi Tunjojo, who's the Minister of Interior, all these guys who are like passionate about doing the work, right? They are trying their best.
This Dave Umahi that you're always even talking about. I don't understand.
Let me finish now.
Okay.
Let me finish now. You have all these guys who are doing their best. And then on the other hand, you have some other funny guys that you've given appointments to. They are dragging their feet. They are frustrating you. I'm sorry. The Senate president. Mr. Akpabio.
That's Senate president.
We all know that he got that position based on Tinubu's doing.
That one is
that is a no-no for me.
A fluke.
Yeah. That office is not appointment, but that arrangement to put him as the Senate president.
It's appointments now.
Yeah, for me, it set the Senate back a few steps back. It set them a few paces back. And that will create that lopsidedness in our government today, why the government is not efficient. On one hand, you see them and it looks like they are trying. It looks like Cardozo too, and all those guys, CBN governor. It looks like they are trying to do things. They're trying. Then it looks like there's another part of the wheel that is just set up to make these guys fail. And it's the same president that's appointing those guys as well. And it's like, how does the president expect the country to work when he has created these problems by himself? And I know he's trying to make people happy, but at some point, he needs to decide what's more important to him. Do you want to leave a legacy as president where, you turned around the fortunes of the country and people were happy and there was peace and prosperity? Or do you want to be remembered as just another politician who just, negotiated and bargained his way into office, did his 4 years or 8 years, and then moved on? Nothing memorable about you. I think that's the decision that Mr. President needs to make. Because I'll be honest with you, at this point, I know people are about to go on protest and complain, and they have every right to, because the hardship is crazy. At this point, personally, I cannot even say 100% that President Tinubu is trying to sabotage the country. Do you understand? I can't say 100%. I can only say he's committing self-sabotage, because on one hand, it looks like he's trying to do the right things. And then you see some other things that looks like it's the opposite. Like, Oga, why are you putting these kind of people here? Why are you allowing these kind of things to happen? So, yeah, they always said Tinubu is an enigma. Like, an enigma is a personality you can't even understand. It's just out of everyone's league. I think he's an enigma. It's hard to understand why he's doing what he's doing or what he's even doing. But I wish him the best, to be honest, because things are not going right now.
Yeah. I've seen the Senate presidents maybe like 2 or 3 times, and what I got from it is unwatchable. It's not somebody that I want to watch talking, because he doesn't seem to.
He's really crass, man.
Yeah,
like
he's and then there was a time that he went to his home state. And I saw people running after him, trailing and stuff and all. And I realized that that's actually why these guys are always, why they act and feel the way they feel and
100.
Stuff. Because
100.
they have a lot of, I'm trying to look for the word for the people that are kind of
psychophants.
Yeah, a lot of psychophants that just follow them. And all. And I mean, it's self-sabotage, like, that's the word to use. Like, you are sabotaging your livelihood, you're sabotaging your future, you're sabotaging, what should be your legacy? It's just sabotaging it. I'm talking of the Nigerians now, and Nigerians need to begin to make good demands and ask their leaders to lead well, ask their leaders to lead right, ask their leaders to lead well, and do what is right, for the benefits, of the nation and all. You talked about Umahi. Well, I don't know what you have seen in Mr. Umahi, but there's really nothing that I can say. But for me, I'm not seeing anything that the man is doing. I know that they're still saying that they're going to cancel the coastal road, that the coastal road is not really working again.
Who says so?
I'm hearing rumors.
They're not
they said they're going to cancel it.
Work is still ongoing.
Okay, work is ongoing.
Yeah, work is still ongoing.
Work is ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on. We would take a break and then we would come back and look to wrapping it up. Can see that Nigeria. I'm tired of Nigeria. I can't even talk again. So we'll go on a break. I'll be right
drained.
back. We'll be right back.
All right, got you.
Yeah. And we are back. Yeah,
back like we never left.
Yeah, it's
yo.
The best place for information now is X. I'm telling you guys, if you are on all those other platforms, let me not go and mention their name because their body is always, they're always triggered. Their hand is very trigger happy.
Very quick.
Once you see anything like this, they just delete you. So I'm not going to mention them, but X gives everybody an opportunity to be expressive, say whatever you want to say. I was watching an interview by Tucker Carlson today. I'm like, man, this one cannot go on all those platforms. They will yank it off me. I know it's just a sad reality of the world that we live in, really. So, it brings me to our man, Mr. Wahab. Is it Falawi or is it Wahab? Yeah, Mr. Wahab, our Minister for Environment and I think he's Minister for Environment.
He's a commissioner.
Commissioner for Environment in Lagos. I was waxing poetic, talking about climate change, from so. There is not climate change, that we should be prepared for climate change and stuff and all. And it was a mixed reaction to the posts. What are we really doing? What do you think? Is it about climate change? Is it really about climate change that you're talking about and all? And, so Nigeria, we've been experiencing a lot of a lot of, flooding, flash flood, when rain falls and stuff. And, people are complaining what's happening and all. But I could see when I was young, it's been a while, couple of decades now, rain fell and it was flood everywhere. So I'm and then I've not really been hearing much about climate change, those period and stuff. How come it's not climate change? So, yeah. You just hear all these things and you be like, man, that's why it's good to be educated, good to be informed, and all, and don't get hoodwinked by all this, and all. What do you think about, Mr. Commissioner? I know. Anyway, what do you think? I'll come back to my thoughts on it.
I actually made a comment to that post when they put it up because it was just in line with the same approach that the globalists take. And when I use the word globalist, I know some people think I'm
conspiracy theories.
I'm sorry, it's just for lack of a better word. That's what they call them. The guys at the top that are orchestrating how the entire world is responding to different things.
Yeah.
They call them globalists. So it showed some clips that showed areas getting flooded, Brazil, and everything. And then it was waxing lyrical, like you said, about how this is the effect of climate change. We should all be very careful. We should all be ready to make serious changes, support the government, blah, blah, blah. And I commented on that post and I said that he of all people shouldn't be doing things like that because it's in the same vein that the climate change promoters follow when they want to get the whole world to align with this climate change agenda. They try to put an element of fear. They try to put an element of urgency They try to put an element of emergency into the subject so that people are scared, and then we just say, oh, okay, what do you need us to do? And then we'll follow what you tell us to do. You know? I was watching a clip somewhere. No, I think I was not a clip. I attended a training. It was a fraud training. And I remember the instructor was telling us that how do you know when someone is trying to scam you? There are telltale signs that you can see when someone is trying to scam you that should put you at high alert. Number one, when you receive a message or a communication that tries to trigger fear in you, they just send you a message. Oh, your your account has been suspended because you did not do this. To avoid that, you shut down your account, send an email or call this number now. They put fear in you, number one. Number two, they try to force you to do something immediately. Those are elements of a scam or a scam artist. They want to put fear in you, and they want to trigger an immediate reaction from you so that the moment you just fall into it, you enter the trap. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying climate change is a scam. Climate change is a thing, actually. The problem is the messaging around it. I think that the messaging around it has been skewed to a point where they're trying to send a message of fear, and they're trying to trigger people to behave a certain kind of way for reasons best known to them. And I like the point you made where you talked about the fact that go back maybe 30 years ago, we've been having flash floods. Places have been flooding. There is nothing happening today that is new. Go back 3 centuries ago. We have been having tsunami. We have been having earthquake. We have been having tornado. We have been having hurricane. There is nothing new that's happening today that hasn't happened before. So how come all of a sudden now the things that are happening is because of climate change, right? And I study geography, right? So I try to test some of these assumptions that is being made to push this agenda. The entire story of climate change is based on global warming, right? The assumption that the emission of harmful gases, greenhouse gases like methane and carbon monoxide, is going up to the stratosphere and it's messing up the ozone layer. And so because the ozone layer is getting depleted, we have more, because ideally the ozone layer is like a gaseous layer that sort of provides some kind of protection against the sun's ultraviolet rays. So because of the ozone layer, a lot of the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays are filtered away and don't get to the Earth's surface. So every time we burn fossil fuel or we use dirty energy sources, those gases go to the stratosphere and then they begin to mess up with the ozone layer and deplete it. So that covering begins to wear out. So more sun rays is reaching the Earth's surface, thereby causing the temperature of the Earth to warm up more. And so this is where I get a bit confused. If the temperature of the Earth warms up more, the argument is that the North Pole, where the ice caps are, will melt. And when the ice caps melt, the sea level will rise. But then the question I ask myself is, when we look at adverse weather events like tsunamis or tornadoes, or even like typhoons or flash floods, are these things actually caused by a rise in sea level? No. They're caused by planetary movements, right? Either movements of the Earth crust, which is basically where the tectonic plate sits, right? When the Earth crust moves or shifts, it will cause a vibration, right, on the Earth that can lead to either an earthquake. If that Earth crust moves under a seabed, that vibration will trigger what we call a tsunami. So earthquakes and tsunamis are not caused by climate change. They are caused by planetary movements of the Earth crust. Hurricanes, typhoons, tornadoes. These weather events are caused by the planetary winds, right? and then the geography students in the house will understand the planetary winds. You have the easterly winds, the westerly winds, the trade winds. All these winds, they blow around the globe. They have their specific directions that they follow, and then they have their own specific characteristics. Whenever you have a sudden change in some of these winds, it can lead to a more forceful wind. And when a more forceful wind blows over a water body, it will carry water with it. And that's when you have hurricanes. Wind that has blown over the sea and crashed inland, bringing water with it. Right? Same thing with a typhoon. It's wind, right? The Coriolis forces play its part as well in how these winds move. So now, the important link for me in linking global warming with these planetary winds is, can we answer the question to say that global warming has a direct impact on planetary winds? Does the increase in the Earth's surface temperature somehow mess with the planetary winds, which now triggers these adverse weather events? There is no scientific proof or direct, certified, guaranteed scientific proof that links the warming of the Earth or the melting of ice caps in the North Pole to any of these incidents. So why are we attributing things that are caused by something else entirely to climate change? And that's why I questioned Mr. Wahab's tweet where he was showing flash floods and showing, all those things and saying it's climate change. How do we link it together? First of all, the climate, and this is going to be a controversial statement, the climate is always changing. In my opinion, the climate recycles itself, right? It's not always getting hotter alone. There are periods where, yes, it's hotter, and then there are periods when it is colder. It's like a cycle. The earth and the climate, it's just like Mother Nature. Mother Nature is always replenishing itself, regardless of what we do. We're not the ones that will determine whether we are going to help nature exist or not. The same thing with the universe. When the globalists use climate change as a vehicle to say we want to save the planet, we're too small to save the planet. We're not there when the planet was formed. None of our scientists to today can give us irrefutable proof of the beginning of life or the beginning of the earth itself. All they can do is study the planetary bodies and try to explain how it's formed, how it is set up. But they don't have the evidence to show how it was created. It's the same thing with nature. It's the same thing with the climate, bruv. We don't have the facilities to save the earth. We are too small to save the earth. I believe that the story of climate change should center more around how do we save ourselves. That's a better story that I would like to hear, right? Agreed. When you release methane and carbon monoxide, a lot of these harmful substances, they stay in the troposphere, and that's the immediate atmosphere of our Earth's environment, and that is where we get our oxygen that we breathe. If you tell me today that we need to reduce our emission because we want to be able to reduce pollutants that affect the quality of our air, that's a better argument to make. So when you tell us to achieve net zero, when you tell us to achieve carbon neutrality, the story is we want to pollute the air less so that we can breathe in better air and we can live longer, healthier lives. That's a better narrative to sell to the people, which is closer to the truth. And you are telling people that we want to save us. But when you say you want to save the planet, bruv, net zero is not going to stop a tsunami. It's not going to stop flash flood. It's not going to stop a hurricane. All of these things existed in the past, 2,000 years ago. They'll exist today. They'll still exist tomorrow, because that's just the way the world is set up. And we can't explain why it's that way. So for me, I think that, yes, it's an unpopular opinion. A lot of the globalists and the climate change guys and your COP27, COP28 guys, they don't want to hear it. I'm not yet to say that, oh, maybe there is some negative agenda somewhere, but I'm saying, why don't we ask more pertinent questions around the climate change agenda? There's a lot of fear. These guys at the World Economic Forum and all these guys, they want to task some continents like Africa. They want to get us to commit to a particular year that, we'll abandon fossil fuel, we'll start doing renewables, EVs, all those things, trying to defund us because they don't want us to engage in those fossil fuel energy sources anymore. They want us to move there and they want us to move there. And I'm like, let's take a chill pill. We're pushing this thing a bit too fast. Let's ask some real tangible questions. I did my research on this. If you're telling me that global warming is what is causing climate change, and then you are also saying that hurricane, typhoons, tsunamis, tornadoes, flash floods are caused by global warming, I would just like to see one piece of scientific evidence that directly links global warming to all of these adverse environmental effects or weather effects. And if there isn't a clear link that can establish this relationship, we really need to soft pedal on this climate change story. And we need to focus more on what's important, which is more responsible living, right? Harness your energy in a responsible way. Reduce your pollutants so that people stop getting poisoned by bad air, and then we can live a longer, healthier life. That's a more reasonable story to tell than this save our planet story, which to me is a lot of BS.
Yeah, that's that's lesson for Mr. Wahab. I hope he's going to watch this.
Unfortunately, he's not the kind of guy that takes to alternative perspectives.
Yeah, the question that I wanted to ask Mr. Wahab is, what exactly is his what exactly is his agenda as it pertains to project that is complete and executed, to the letter. Number one, he was chasing people that were making noise. That was what I know him for. Locking people up and stuff. I don't think I've heard much of that anymore. I mean, I don't think there's been any lesser noise in the environment, because I still hear a lot of noise, everything blaring everywhere and stuff. The second one was, he was saying like, we want to achieve clean air and all and everything. I don't even know what that one is about. This one now is saying climate change. I don't understand. What does Mr. Wahab, what does he want to do? That's the question. What does Mr. Wahab want to do? He should tell us. Should not just be taking us where we don't know. This one today, this one today, this one tomorrow and all. The question, what I would just advise him, if you can just stay with that noise pollution and follow through. Let us know that this is the thing that he achieved during Tinubu's era. Let us know that that's the thing that you achieved.
During Sanwo-Olu's era.
Is it Sanwo-Olu?
He worked for Sanwo-Olu.
Oh yeah, he worked for Sanwo-Olu.
Yeah.
During Sanwo-Olu's era. You did that first go round. We don't hear anything. Okay, I think he's even started this second term of Sanwo-Olu.
Yeah, I think so.
He started second term and all.
Yeah.
So if you are going to do I was on them throughout the first go round of Sanwo-Olu. Like, I sent them a message like, come to the area, there's a lot of noise and stuff and all. They know they do anything. They're not going to answer your mail. They're not good. I see people send them message as well that would go back to them like, have you seen my message? And all. They don't follow through. And all. So there is, you guys, you just jump from one project to project. I don't know, maybe I just putting it out so that your guy can see it. And then you guys can say, this is where we need money again. And then they'll put money there again and all. I don't understand. If you guys are really lead us well. You see, Nigerians are the easiest to lead. If you guys are just doing the right thing, just do it to the letter. Seriously.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people loved Fashola, what's it called? Fashola, when Fashola was governor? People wanted Fashola they wanted to even want him to have a lifetime of governorship, and all. Because people saw what he was doing. So if you guys want to lead well, do it well, I'm going to talk about the climate change a little. I follow, because what I do, because that's what I do. I try to find out and try to know a little about what's going on and all, So But the scare tactics, I just don't like it, because when you say anything, you see some climate activists go. I think they went to, was it Volkswagen? They went one day. I think it was in Germany.
Yeah.
They went to sit there. They gummed themselves on the floor, and then those guys were okay. Guys stayed there. They locked them and they went home. So there is this militant approach that they just deploy, like, as if you are telling people not to live their life. You're telling people to just stop, for you, because you think in your mind, or because you believe in your mind that this is what is supposed to be for the global good, supposed to be good for the global. At some point, I think they even they wanted to start disrupting football match at some point. I don't know. There was one match that they were playing that they went and they poured stuff on this, on the field and stuff and all. And all these things they're not the way to go, really. There's this lady, I think Jordan Peterson has interviewed her before. Judith Corey. He's an American climatologist and former chair of School of Earth Atmospheric Sciences at the Georgia Institute of Technology. And these ones are professionals, they call. They are well read, and they are all that. If he's a chair, of the School of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences at the Georgia Institute of Technology, that means that she knows what her onions is what, and then she has given, and all. She's one of the people that they removed from the climate. They removed that. They just suspended that, told her to go, from the climate accord, because what she said was, guys, are we outplaying our hand here? These things that you guys are saying, from my own research, the math is not math, they are not connecting, can we just slow our roll a little, and let the earth take care of itself? What is our own responsibility, as it pertains to how, we clean our environment, how we kind of maintain, if there are, blockages, and sometimes, where humans are situated to affect all these things. When you put, buildings on gutterways that supposed to, get through, to the ocean or to the, to the larger, stream and stuff, that would kind of channel it, into the right direction. When you block it, that's what happens, so all these, little things that we humans, we do, to kind of impede our own, livelihood, as it pertains to our community. And so let's deal with it and stuff and all, and then we talk about the Lagos state, pulling buildings down and all. That's like their easiest. It is like bread and butter to them. They're pulling building down. It's like their bread and butter. They love it so much, because then it is, I assume that they are working, they are doing the work and stuff and all. But the question is, who gave them those permission? Who gave them the, who sold the land to them, and who gave them the right, because if you are buying land, you still go to, town planning,
Minister
lands, Minister of Town Planning and stuff and all. They will do all the normal paperwork and stuff. Who is giving them those approval and stuff, So at the end of the day, you realize that.
Sorry, just on that one as well. Sorry to cut the show, but on the demolition, it's the rainy season now in Nigeria and in Lagos particularly, and you see what's been happening on the island in the last few weeks with the rains. The flood has been more than ever before. As in rain falls and then the whole of Lekki is like blocked, people spend 3 hours on the road, and then people are asking questions like, Engineer Wahab, I thought all the houses you were pulling down was because you want to clear you want to clear drainage channel. Why? We see, the flood is even more than before you started pulling down houses. So really, Engineer Wahab, the Commissioner for Environment and something.
Engineer Wahab.
We're not really seeing the workings.
Yes,
there's a lot of talk. And then now you want to scare us with another climate change story. But the one that is supposed to be within our own reach, we're not doing. The drainage channel is still blocked. The gutters are still blocked. So
if Engineer Wahab wants to be doing poetry, let's know. We come to what's it called? Terraculture, or come to Freedom Park
or Alliance Francaise.
Alliance Francaise. We can put you on stage. You do poem
with microphone.
You do poem for us. We clap for you. Now do work. Now with the ass, do work.
Bro.
Seriously, we are tired of all these things. Do work. Seriously. Now, on the more serious note, like I said, Nigerians are looking for good leaders. They are the easiest to lead. If you do little things like this, Nigerians go clap for you. They're even doing worse. They're still clapping for them. You cannot imagine if you are doing good.
Yeah.
They will clap for you.
They'll build statue for you.
Yeah, build statue for you. Really.
So you have seen Shaggy.
Who is that person that builds statue for themselves, Seth?
Who is that?
You
For
know
this
like
country.
Yeah, it seems it's wicked.
No, head stay. They don't break and finish now. Yeah.
He said,
I don't know if he did it for himself or
I don't know if he did it for himself.
Did it
Yeah.
for him. Yeah, but
You know, so that when you leave office, they will not be pulling your statue down.
yeah.
You know, saying that time for everybody,
Yeah, time
season. You know what they say now? For everything in life, there is time and season.
and season.
This
bro.
is your time. Do all the poem that you like and all, but time will still pass.
Yeah.
Now that account, now we go, they read for you when that time comes and all.
Yeah, it does
It's just the reality of life.
Bashir Ahmed. You know
Bashir,
Bashir?
I mean, yeah.
When he was the PA to
Now that
Buhari-
statement now for top X now.
when he was
Yeah.
PA to Buhari,
Yeah.
you know, he was always
He
waxing
can
very
defend-
arrogant.
he can defend the
He was
indefensible.
always waxing so arrogant, like we are part of government. This is what
Yeah,
we're doing. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Baba don't come office now.
nah.
He don't become office of the concerned citizen.
Yeah.
He don't they plead now.
Nah, so now.
He
Maybe
don't
I
become
talked
the
about
voice of the people.
I talked about Tolu Ogunlesi and Mojua too that time. You know,
Yeah, it's crazy.
those ones are not even what's it called? If they stumble on this podcast, I need to tell them, you guys should sit up. What are you guys doing? You're acting as if you're one big boy. Big boy for where? Time go past. You guys are wasting away. You're wasting your youth away. Instead of you to kind of get your acts together and all, you're acting as if you're on stage. I saw Mojua posting one day. I was with the Deji Tunumbu. Who cares? Who cares if you're with Deji Tunumbu and all? Is that what your people are saying? You guys should sit your ass down and do what is right. Do what is right, you know, and all. Because I know Mojua, started relatively well and all. When he was kind of like doing Aluta. Now, David Hunde now they be like Omojua of those days and stuff and all.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I know.
I see.
But it is what it is. If you guys don't sit up, your time you guys will just fade away because you guys are too young for all this nonsense that you guys you just fade away. Seriously. You go into the relevance of life or society and all. If you guys just sit your ass down and do what is right. You know, but that's what it is, Jerry. Let's go and wrap this in. You see the way Nigeria is.
It just gets you angry.
Just you want to riling somebody up.
Infuriating you.
Just riling somebody up. Yeah, let's wrap it all up, Jerry. Our final take. The House of Rep. We still talk about Nigeria. The House of Rep. They talk say they are cutting their salary by 50%. They are giving Nigeria like the greatest gifts. They are cutting their salary by 50%. You know, so all of us should be happy and be happy for them. Like, yes.
How much did they say we'll save in 6 months? How much did they say
we'll save?
I think the guy said like 680 million.
Yeah. Can imagine.
Blatant
just
liars.
50. No, even if it is 650 million, even if that is the case, you can imagine how much these guys are taking off of the people.
No, he's saying 680 million for the whole House of Assembly as savings. For the 6 months.
For the 6 months.
Yes. Slash
that's what I'm saying 50%. Now. If you slash it by 50%,
you
can imagine how much these guys have taken away from this.
That's a gross understatement of the reality.
That's what I'm saying now. But we're still saying, okay, if that is the case, if that is the case, they're taking 660 million naira from their salary that they cut to 50% and stuff and all. You can imagine how much these guys are eating off from us. So that means there is still 650 million, naira that still accrue to them after they remove that. We're saying, let's say that is the case. I'm not saying that
it's not per senator.
No. I understand. I understand. This 650 million is still some word.
It's a drop in the ocean.
But it's still some word. I'm saying like, let's look at it. Okay, that's saying they are saying the truth.
Okay.
Let's look at it. They are saying the truth.
Okay.
680 million naira is still some word. This is some cash.
Yeah.
And all. Now we know that they are lying. That one is there. But where the money really is, they no touch them, you know? You know, say they no touch them.
Yes.
Those are their extra codes.
The allowances.
That's it now. You didn't touch it. Yeah, you know? So they want us to be happy. I beg. I don't even have anything to say to that. You can talk. After you finish, we'll close it.
We'll close a bit. I mean,
I don't have anything to say to that.
The thing is that all I can say is I don't blame them. I don't blame them because they know that the bar in Nigeria is very low. People are not enlightened enough. People are not educated enough. And even the few ones that are educated are not enlightened enough. So it's easy to deceive them. It's easy to just come out and lie. Our leaders don't have, let me not call them leaders. Our politicians, they don't even put effort when they want to lie anymore. They just lie blatantly because they know that the people are not thorough enough to challenge them on their lie. Right? And sometimes it might not be outright lie, but maybe a lie by omission. What that our member of house did is what you call lie by omission. Because the guy says, oh, because of the rising agitation of the Nigerians, they want to protest. Let's show empathy towards their plight. Let's also slash our salary as a means of solidarity to their struggle so that the government can have some money to also invest in some short-term, initiatives that can ameliorate the plight of the people. So my salary is 500,000 as a member of the house. I'm ready to slash it by 50%. Then the speaker of the house now corrected him and said, point of correction is 600,000. Okay. It's 600,000, right? Okay. So we'll slash it by 50%. And by so doing, for 6 months, we'll be able to save 680 million thereabouts, which will go to the coffers of the government and they can use it to, maybe do palliative or whatever it is to make life easy for the people. Now, what the guy was quoting as salary is basic salary, right? In reality, their monthly take home has so many other allowances, right? That can shoot to as high as maybe 10 million, 13 million a month. Do you understand? The average cost of maintaining a member of House of Assembly, either senator or the lower chamber, in a year is at least 1 billion naira minimum. 1 billion. And you've not added constituency project though. It's just the money that goes to them for their extra codes, their allowances, furniture allowance, cloth allowance, hardship allowance, newspaper allowance, fuel allowance, child allowance, education allowance, health allowance, all the many allowances. Those are different from their basic salary. So what that member of house did was conveniently ignore that he has like 12 other allowances he's receiving during different periods of the year. And then say that our salary is 600,000. If the guy or if the House of Assembly is really worried about the plight of the people and they want to take one for the team, that 1 billion they are taking in a year, they should slash it by 50%. At least that's 500 million, Abi. In 6 months, that will be 250 million per member of the house. There are about 300 to 360 members of House of Assembly from higher and lower chamber. If you do the multiplication, 250 million times 300 or 350, that will give you around 25 billion or thereabouts 30 billion. That is the real savings that the government can make if you slash their salary. That's their total take home by 50% for 6 months. It's not the 600 million that Oga said. So I know that he doesn't think that there are people that will punch holes in that submission, and he's expecting us to be clapping for him for saying that. But I will say that he should stop being disingenuous. Alright, we're looking for people that can be men of integrity, right? At times like this, we're looking for leaders that can lead from the front and they can bear the pain of the people and take sacrifices. If you want to come out and recommend for a slash in your salary so that there can be more savings to help the people, come out outrightly and be truthful about it. Stop trying to play games, Mr. Member of the House of Assembly. Stop trying to insult the sensibilities of Nigerians. Even if the majority of Nigerians will allow this your deceit to fly over their heads, there are still a few Nigerians who can think independently, who can think critically, and they can scrutinize your statements or your recommendations and to see the falsehood behind what you are propagating. So please, if the house is serious about slashing their salaries so that Nigerians will not hit the streets, what we are expecting our savings is minimum 25 to 30 billion in 6 months. That's 600 million. They should keep it in their pockets. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess, that's all we have for our guys today. But before we go, there's one last, topic that's not relevant, but I want us to talk about it. Shallipopi. They said Shallipopi was wearing one jewelry. And I saw it on X. They said the jewelry was worth 400 and I don't know, maybe it's like 450 million dollars.
Yeah.
I want to give a little lesson to some of these eggheads that are on X. Shaquille O'Neal. He's one of the richest NBA players, one of the richest, and all. Shaquille O'Neal is worth $500 million. His life worth. Shaquille O'Neal is everywhere in America, is everywhere. TV commercials everywhere. He's on TNT. He has his podcast. He has a lot of, the general, the insurance and stuff. He's everywhere. He's worth $500 million. Cristiano Ronaldo, the great Cristiano Ronaldo, is worth between $550 million and $600 million.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think he's a billionaire though.
No, it's between 550.
Are you sure it's not worth up to $1 billion?
No, it's not worth up to $1 billion. If it was up to $1 billion, they would have talked about it. LeBron James is one that's worth up to $1 billion because they're always, ranking them, all those sports and stuff. Usher Raymond has, let's say Usher Raymond has been there, done that and all. Usher Raymond is around $180 million.
Yeah.
Shallipopi is the top. Shallipopi. Okay.
Shallipops.
All the money that, the fraudster, Hushpuppi. All the money that he embezzled, that he stole, that he this, that he that he was always doing all his, penthouse in Dubai and all, everything.
Yeah.
Estimation, everything all together. Somewhere around maybe 300 million, 400 million and all. And those money, he didn't make it, they were just estimating that these are the money that was meant to embezzle and stuff and all.
Yeah.
300 and stuff and all. So wherever Shallipopi saw 450 million, is it 50 million? Wherever he saw the 450 million chain, tell them to go and give it back to them. Say not fake.
You don't scam him. Serious scamming.
He scammed him.
He needs to go back and fight. Whoever sold that chain to him for 450 million.
Whoever gave him that.
It's obviously fake news. Misinformation.
Fake news.
People swallow things up.
Yeah, people just like to just put the listen out there. But it's been fun, really. I talked about, the climatologist, Judy Corey. If you want to know about him, go to Prager University. You can actually sign up on their website. You can get a lot of information there that are not mainstream because they've been censoring a lot all over, and it's quite sad, really. And I think Nigerian government also needs to do something about that, where we put, anyway, they even wanted to censor us. So, we could even talk about Nigerian government.
Yeah.
Well, let's go on.
Fego.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have any other thing that you want to share?
Yeah, friend Fego.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful time.
It's been a pleasure. Blah, 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 blah. I know that, the conversations will leave you down, but let's take you up and enjoy the rest of your Yeah, it's Nigeria. Every time I think about Nigeria, it does have this solemn, this sad,
gets you in the one
this somber. Yeah, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
And I think that's actually where your own input would have to come in. I keep saying it. In Nigeria, our politics and our democracy would outlive us. What are you willing to leave behind? I think that's the message that I'm passing to you that is watching, that is listening to us. What are you willing to leave behind? Because at the end of the day, you realize that these guys are not really there for us, and all. So what are you doing? What do you want to do? And all. Tinubu's been there for 40 years. Obasanjo has been there for over 60 years. Because if you look at our independence and stuff, they've been there for, Buhari has been there since in his 20s. Buhari is in his 80s now and all, so you can name it. You can name them and all, Atiku has been there for forever and all. So now the responsibility falls on your shoulders, so you don't think that you are out of this game. If you put your feet on the ground and you start to follow that path, now you realize that you find yourself in government at some point and stuff. What are you doing about it? And all. I think that's the message for all of us. Yeah. Really.
Take home assignments. Yeah. Go and figure out what you are doing for your country.
Yeah. So we'll see you next week.
Say banana kusasa. I stole your
Stay jiggy.
I stole your tagline.
I think this is the camera. Stay jiggy.
Stay jiggy.